Hi, I am Bee. Today I'm creating an elemental dinosaur Stuffie. First things first, I need to make a template. Since fabric is expensive, it's way cheaper to waste a few pieces of printer paper than it is to waste any fabric. So I'm gonna try this out with paper first. I used my digital art program, a printer, trial and error, and eventually created this template. This template is available for free in my coffee shop. The link is in the description below. This template doesn't have any instructions on it. It is a bare bones template, but you can use it and this video and the brain cells that you have in your head, and I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. Let's make that Stuffie. The supplies I used to create the Stuffie included the template, 2mm thick felt sheets, a variety of thread in the colors that match the felt sheets, stuffing, and a pair of safety eyes. If you watch my other felting video, you know I'm allergic to certain types of felting materials. I've discovered that I'm not allergic to acrylic felting sheets, so that's what I'm using today. And according to the Google, 2mm is the minimum thickness that you need to make a felt Stuffie. If you're gonna go with 1mm, you may have to double the layers together, otherwise the seams may rip right through the felting fabric. I start by cutting out my template. I cut around the gray edges of the template. The black edges dictate the pattern, the gray edges dictate the seam allowance. I use this pattern to cut out the different pieces. I decide that I want the dino's stomach a light blue and the rest of the dino to be a dark blue. I do use the side panels template twice to create two pieces for both sides of the dinosaur. I do cut off the stomach's neck at the dotted line, so that way it's easier to sew into place. Now that I've cut out all my pieces, I add my safety eyes to the two side panels. When I was adding the eyes, I didn't think about the fact that there is going to be a panel in between these two side panels. If I had thought about that, instead of placing them where I did, I would have placed them here instead. Once that was done, I used the feet to line up a side panel and the bottom panel to sew those two together using a twirl stitch, and then I repeated it on the other side. Next, I add the neck piece, adjusting it until it aligned with the bottom of the head, and I used a straight stitch to connect the neck piece to the stomach, and then continued on using the twirl stitch along either side of that neck piece. Now I'm going to take that house piece and take the flat edge and sew it onto the top of the neck. This is going to be the bottom of the head or the chin area of the dinosaur. And then I use a twirl stitch to sew either side together until the two side panels come together at the point of the house. As always, if you want to please the Pandaverse, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Now that I have the base pieces sewn together, it's time to figure out those details. Do I want spikes on its back or on its tail? Do I want the elements on the spikes or on the sides or on its legs? I do know that I want to somehow include air, water, fire, and earth. I also know based off of the paper dinosaur that I made from this same template that I'm going to need something on the back of the tail to help weigh it down. So that way this dinosaur is not top heavy and can stand up correctly. And this is the story that I came up with. Elemental dinos are unique creatures that can manipulate the different elements. Their physical form changes based off the different elements that they are manipulating. The spikes on their tail show the other elements that they have already mastered. A baby elemental dino will have no spikes. A young one will only have one, and those that have lived and learned will have 3 or 4. Only those most skilled will have 5 or more spikes. The elemental dino I made today is working on their 4th spike, water. They have already learned earth, fire, and wind. As you can see, they have learned to manipulate water enough to change their physical form, but not enough to have earned their 4th spike. Now that I know my design, I'm going to use some stuffing to fill in the head and continue sewing down the body, stuffing as I go, until I get to the point where I'm going to add the spikes. I stop just past the back feet and cut out those spikes so that way I can stitch it between the two panels. I use a straight stitch to close the two panels together around the spikes, stuff the final bit of the tail, and then finish the twirl stitch around the end of the tail. Out of precaution, I did add a second straight stitch over the top of the first one just to give it a little extra strength where those two panels and the spikes meet. I squished the dino around, adjusting its stuffing inside so that way it would stand up straight. And as cute as my dinosaur is right now, it's time to add the details. First, I tried to embroider it, but embroidery on top of felt just kind of ripped the felt apart. It's a terrible idea. I do not recommend it. Instead, I decided to cut out some felt pieces and stitch them into place, and that worked out so much better. I cut out 2 of everything since I wanted it to be seen on either side of the spikes. And I think the felt really gives a playful look to this that embroidery doesn't encapture, and they look so ducking cute. I had a few raindrops to my dino's back to showcase the element that they're working on right now, and I couldn't be more proud. If I were to adjust anything, I would adjust the placement of the eyeballs, but otherwise they're perfect, and maybe in the future, I'll make them in all of their stages of evolution. If that's a series of videos you would like to see, let me know. They are just so ducking cute. If you were here in this room right now, I would be aggressively shoving this in your face saying, look at it! It's so cute! Because I love it so much. So without further ado, let's check out those final results. If you like this video, check out my Panda Ear video. I make these. Doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. Wah, wah, wah. Swim in the water. Bloop, 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 bloop. I'm so cute. I'm the cutest dinosaur in the world. Boop, 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 boop. Boo-doo, boo-doo, boo-doo. Don't judge me.